So they also are symbolized, or metaphorically speaking, spoken of as men and the tribes, both those who walk in the full counsel and those who don't. In the last days, all eyes are on Gandhi, right? Wrong. All eyes are on Jay Leno. No. All eyes are on Adrian Rogers, who was a great man among us, who's now with Yeshua. No. All eyes are on Yahweh. What's Yahweh doing in the earth? You want to do the will of Yahweh? Find out what Yahweh's doing and get hooked up with Him. That's why we're successful. That's why we overcome. That's why we are changing lives. Because we found out what Yahweh's doing in the earth and we signed up with Him. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now watch this. Let's continue. Verse 2. And Hamat, also which borders Damascus, and Sor and Sidon, though they had become very wise in their wickedness. Sor built herself a stronghold, and heaped up silver as the dust, and fine gold as the mud of the streets. Let me also say this before we go ahead. In Ephesians chapter 6, it speaks of the armor, put on the whole armor of Yahweh, that you may be able to what? Resist the little darts, the little attacks, the little inconveniences, the little things of the enemy. The armor of Yahweh is not a Roman soldier's armor. You know why Rav Shaul Paul is not describing the armor? Have you ever heard in the religious church world? Well, you got to put on the whole armor, and what Rav Shaul is talking about is the armor of a Roman soldier. No, he's not. Paul never saw a Roman soldier. I'm going to change that. That didn't sound good, did it? Isaiah never saw a Roman soldier. Pardon me. Isaiah never saw a Roman soldier. Paul is quoting Isaiah 59:17, and Rav is quoting 59:16, where it says that Yeshua is the one who is the armor of Yahweh, and Rav Shaul says, put on the full armor of Yahweh, meaning everything Yeshua is. I'm sorry. He's quoting Isaiah 59:17, and Isaiah never saw a Roman soldier. Why? Isaiah lived 700 years before there was a Roman soldier. So when Rav Shaul tells us to put on the full armor of Yahweh, what is he saying? Put on everything Yeshua has for you. Everything that Yeshua is. All the power of Yeshua, the Torah of Yeshua, the Shabbat of Yeshua, the feast of Yeshua, the ways of Yeshua, the Mechukim of Yeshua, the Mishpatim of Yeshua. Everything that Yeshua is, you put on. That make sense? He's quoting Isaiah 59:17. Let's continue. Verse 3, and Sor did build herself a strong heap of silver and dust and fine gold and mud of the streets. Amen. Verse 4, Zechariah chapter 9, verse 4. You see, Yahweh will cast her out. Who's her? Those aforementioned nations. He will destroy her power in the sea, and she shall be devoured with fire. Now, listen, these nations, okay, Damascus is Syria. We'll talk about this in a little while. Sor is Lebanon, Sidon. We'll read this in a second. Modern day Arab nations that are represented by Lebanon, Syria, and other Arab nations. Yahweh will impose His will on them, whether they like it or not. So this is a prophecy for the last days. Simple enough? This is a prophecy for the last days. Yahweh says He will impose their will because the tribes of Israel and man, even unredeemed man, all eyes of all mankind, listen, will be on Yahweh in these last days. Both houses of Israel, the 12 tribes, and these nations, okay? And again, Sor, Damascus is the capital of Syria, that's Damascus. Sor and Sidonian is the area of Lebanon, and that area to the north of Israel, and they speak of Yahweh's will, or His power, destroying their power in the latter days. Now look at verse 5. Ashkelon shall see it. So whatever Yahweh is going to do, listen, in the latter days, to who? To the Arab nations, to the modern Arab nations. He will do in the eyes of the Arab nations, but He will also do in the eyes of all Yisrael. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. When he does this power, when he displays his power and destroys those nations and their power and casts them out, Ashkelon shall see it and fear. Gaza, Asa, Asa is the Hebrew word for Gaza, Asa, shall also see it and be sorrowful. And Ekron, for her expectation, has dried up. And the Melech, which here, of course, is the prince of the power of the air, the king over all princes of the power of the air, Satan, will perish from Gaza, and Ashkelon will not be inhabited. Gaza, or Gaza, along with Ekron, are all Palestinian areas today. How many would agree with that? Gaza and Ekron are areas where the Palestinians have been given territory by the Sharon government. Yes?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Si, senor. Yes. Satan, now look at verse 5. The Melech, Satan, the principality, or the one throwing darts against both houses of Israel, that Melech, listen, will perish from Gaza and from Ashkelon. In other words, Israel, don't worry, Yahweh is on the job. When the eyes of the whole world are on Yahweh in the last days, all eyes, both the two houses and those from the nations, will realize that he will destroy those Arab nations who hate his people, but more than that, he says specifically even the Gaza, Gaza, and Ekron, Palestinian areas, will have their king removed. That's not speaking about Yasser Arafat, brothers and sisters. That's speaking of S period, A period, what? 10. Yahweh will use the sword of the Ruach to remove the residents of Ekron and of Asa, who are firing these spiritual, political, religious, and hateful darts into the lives of the state of Israel and Jewish Israel. This is a latter-day prophecy. It's an eschatological piece of Scripture. Turn to your neighbor and say, eschatological. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'll try that next week. This is an eschatological piece of Scripture. We who love Israel and the state of Israel and the things of Zion need not fear the fact that the Palestinians are in Gaza or Gaza again, because it was ordained for them to be there by Moshiach himself so that he can return, get the glory, and evict them once and for all. In other words, am I upset that the Sharon government gave back Gaza to Ekron and the Plishtim? The Plishtim are the modern day Palestinians. Not at all. Because it says in the last days, every eye will see what Yahweh is going to do. How is Yahweh going to destroy their power and remove their king? Those who live in Gaza and Ekron and the coast of the Western Mediterranean Sea, how is Yahweh going to remove their king and the darts of their king if the Palestinians were not settled back in that land? And we saw that happen in the so-called peace process between Israel and her Arab neighbors. Yahweh put them back there. So I'm not worried about Sharon. I'm not worried about Netanyahu. I'm not even worried about Golda Meir coming back from the dead. I'm not worried, because my eyes, like your eyes, like his eyes, like her eyes, every eye of every Bible believer should be on what Yahweh is doing in these last days.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem, Yahweh. Notice, Mashiach will personally evict and cause them to perish. Not just these Palestinians or the Plishtim, the latter-day residents of Asa and Ekron, but also their Melech. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, and spiritual wickedness in high places. Therefore, take on the full armor of Yahweh. which is Yeshua himself. He is the sword. He is the helmet of salvation. He's the shield of faith. He gives us faith, for without faith it is impossible to please Yahweh. For by grace you are saved through faith and not of yourself. It is a gift from the true soldier, Yeshua. Even your faith, even your Torah, even everything that you are armoring and putting on yourself to battle against the darts of the wicked one are given to you by Yeshua and not by a Roman soldier. Paul would never describe the armor of a Roman soldier in your fight against the things of the Greco-Roman system. That's foolish. That's religious foolishness. I don't care what your last pastor said, even though I'd like to get a few minutes with it. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Look at verse 6. And Gadim, notice, strangers, shall dwell in Ashdod. Ashdod is a southern city near the Negev, near Egypt. And I will cut off the pride of the Plishtim. Notice, verse 7. I will take away the Philistines, the Palestinians, the Plishtim. That is the ancient Hebrew word for Palestinians, Plishtim. I will take away his blood, his dam, from his mouth. Notice, Yeshua is going to do all this. We don't have to worry about it. When Yeshua returns, he will remove the Palestinians from the Gaza and from the Palestinian-occupied West Bank. That sounds good, doesn't it? Yeshua is coming to remove all the squatters from the Palestinian-occupied West Bank, and he will destroy their king. Who's their king? Satan. And he will personally evict them and serve them an eviction notice so that it doesn't matter who's in office, because in that day Yeshua will be governor of all of Yehudah and all of Israel, and he was coming to establish his reign, and there won't be a peace process, there'll be a peace enforcement. He will impose his peace upon them because he is the Prince of Peace. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Now watch, how will he do this? He will remove the strangers in Ashdod and cut off the king of the Palestinians and their pride. Such chutzpah. They claim that the land of Israel is not only their land. They claim that they'll make peace with Israel if they have the right to return. You can't return somewhere you never were. That's pride. That's arrogance. To return. Oh, that's my home. That's my home. That's my home. Where do the Jews live? No, they're just going to live in a greater Palestine. So you're claiming property and land and ownership over areas that are not yours. That's pride. That's crazy. This is wrong. Arrogance. So Yeshua is coming to destroy that arrogance among the Plishtim and the Tzion Shor. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Look at verse 7. I will take away the blood out of his mouth, those who live in Asa, and his abominations from between his teeth. What abominations are between his teeth? We'll read that in a second. But he that remains, even he will be for our Elohim. And he will be as a governor in Yehudah and Ekron as a Jebusite. And that's hard scripture. That's why stay with me. These are very difficult scriptures, but I want to help you. Okay, look at verse 7. So Yeshua said he will return to evict the Palestinians from Gaza and from the Palestinian-occupied West Bank to kill their king. Who's their king? S period, A period, Tan, to remove their religious pride and their arrogance, thinking that they have own property that's not theirs and never was theirs. And watch this. I will take, and he will wash the blood, the innocent Jewish blood that the Palestinians have in their mouth, between their teeth, and all the murderous abominations that they commit will be removed. But notice, he that remains from these Plishtim in Ashdod, in Gaza, in Ekron, in Sor, in Sidon, in Damascus, Syria. All Syrians and all Palestinians and all Arab nations in the latter days who are seeking to what? Destroy Yahweh's kingdom, destroy the people of Jewish Israel. Yahweh says, look, I'm not going to totally wipe out these nations. First, I'm going to what? Take the blood out of their mouth. I'm going to destroy their pride. I'm going to destroy their arrogance. But then he that remains. So people always ask me, what's going to happen to the Muslims and the Arabs who hate Israel? Nothing. They'll either become Israel and love Israel with us and become our brothers and sisters, or they'll perish. But there's hope for them because, look, Yahweh prophesies that there will be some in these lands, notice, that remain. And those who remain will be for our Elohim. Isn't that neat? Those who remain from all the Arabic lands, they will be for our Elohim, because their king will have died. Yeshua is coming to kill the king of those who hate Israel. My eyes are looking for that, baby. How about yours? In the last day, when the eyes of all men and all the tribes of Israel are on Yahweh, Sharon's messing up. Netanyahu doesn't have a clue. Perez is a traitor. Politics is crazy. Bush doesn't know what's going on. Politics is not the answer. And all the eyes are, look up, your redemption is drawing nigh. Baruch Hashem, Yahweh. Listen, Yahweh sees the Palestinians or the Plishtim as illegal squatters, murderous thieves, and as such plans to cut off their pride and remove their lust for innocent blood from their vicious behavior. Listen, but as seen here, a remnant Palestinian believing community will be developed in the Gaza Strip and the Mediterranean coast, who will become Israel by becoming a redeemed remnant of Arabic believers within Israel. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that neat? So there will be a redeemed remnant of those in Gaza, of those in Syria, or of those in Tyre and Sidon, Lebanon, Arab nations, who will join Israel and make shalom with Israel, and the rest will be removed. What happens to the Arabs when Yeshua returns? They either make shalom with Israel and become believers in the Elohim of Israel, or they're gone. Yahweh will remove the blood and will remove them from the land. He'll kick out the squatters, and he will rule and reign. But he will leave a remnant Arabic population who loves Elohim. Notice, the remnant, even the remnant will be for our Elohim. They won't be any more for their king, Satan, who is dead, but they will serve the one who overcomes the darts with the sword and the arrow of Yahweh's power. Talk to me, somebody. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Amen. Now watch this. But as seen here, the remnant will survive. The few who desire to join Israel shall do so. Yahweh will convert terrorists, listen, into disciples of Yeshua, who will be so on fire for Yahweh that they will be equal in kingdom authority to any governor or leader in Jewish Israel. As Yahweh takes the coastal dwelling Ekronites and Palestinians by his Ruach, turns them into Yebusites. What's a Yebusite? Those who are like Yevus. Listen, what was the ancient name for Yerushalayim? Very good. Yevus. Not Jabus, Yavus. The ancient name for Yerushalayim was Yavus, notice, and a person who lived in Yavus was known as a Yebusite. Is this starting to make sense? Yeshua is coming to take those who hate Israel and destroy them, but a remnant who desire to be for our Elohim, he will leave them in Gaza as they love Israel, join Israel, worship with Yahweh with their Jewish and Ephraimite brothers in Israel. And Yahweh says, I will take Palestinians, Ekronites, Syrians, Lebanese, through my Ruach, not by might, not by power, Zechariah 4:6, but by my Ruach, saith Yahweh, I will bring the peace plan, because it's not a plan, it's a person. It is the Prince of Peace, Sar Shalom. And I will take those who want to be for our Elohim, and they will be like governors in Yehuda, and the Palestinians will no longer be squatters, they'll be like governors in Yehuda. All right? All this will come to pass in the Olam Haba, following the birth pains of Mashiach and the Great Tribulation, Yaakov's troubles. When Yeshua returns after the Great Tribulation, when Yeshua returns after Yaakov's trouble, he will take the Palestinians who want to serve Yahweh and who want to be for our Elohim, and they will no longer be seen as Palestinians, they will be seen as Yebusites, or as the Torah-observant, Yeshua-loving inhabitants of Yevus. What's Yevus? Yerushalayim. Right? Yerushalayim. So notice, what is Yahweh's plans for the Palestinians? He plans to turn them into governors in Yehuda. They shall be as governors in Yehuda, and the Ekronites, the Mediterranean coast dwellers, shall be as Yebusites, or as those who love Yahweh, and as those who serve Yahweh. Can you imagine that? He was going to take these folks who hate Israel, the state of Israel, and the Jewish people, and turn them into Torah-observant, Yeshua-fearing disciples of Yahweh, even as those today, that Messianic Nazarene Israelite remnant that lives in Jerusalem. Wow. In that day, all eyes will be on Yahweh. The eyes of the 12 tribes and the eyes of all men. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that day. How about you?